Good morning. Actually, it's afternoon. Good afternoon. I am so hungry. I am so hungry, but I'm glad I'm hungry, you know, because there was a time for the last 20 years where I didn't know what hunger was. And because I live in America, in the land of abundance. And so, but that abundance led to a lot of weight gain. And so now I'm at a place in my life where I'm literally happy when I'm hungry. Okay? But I'm about to go eat lunch, and this will be the first time that I'm eating. And this is actually like a mini update as to how I'm losing the weight so I don't eat before noon. Okay, so that there is, and I want to make a video one day once I make a big difference in how much, once I should say, once I see a big difference in how much weight I've lost. But right now I'm losing, or at least maintaining. I'm not gaining any weight, so that's always a good thing. But I wanted to talk about this. It's kind of embarrassing, but it's one of those things I want to tell because why, I have no idea. But I always have this thing where I just want to tell stories about growing up in South Africa and all the crazy things that we did, we went through when, like, we were not dealing with the government, basically in our own townships, villages, and stuff like that. So, as I told you, I was born in Cape Town, but when I was about 1.5 years old, based on what my mom tells me, I wasn't old enough to know. My mom took me and my sisters to live with my grandmother. This was the village, an African village, and so it had no running water, it had no electricity, it had no, like even simple things as primer stoves. Those who know, those who are from South Africa know what a primer stove is. It's a stove that uses paraffin, which in America they have a term I just can't recall right now. But so we didn't have anything. We totally relied on the environment and like the houses that we had. Some people had brick houses, but pretty much every family had a mud house, like those round huts. And now we do it for traditional purposes. Nobody really, like still feels the need to have them, other than, oh, this is our tradition and this is what we used to have. And so you still find them in the countryside. And I will build one when I build a home in South Africa. I will build one in my yard as well, just to honor my own traditions. But anyway, so in the countryside, we're totally dependent on the environment. And this video, really, I wanted to talk about silly things that we did, and yet we are still here. And I don't even know how to make this video, to be honest with you, because as I said, there's so many things I would like to cover. But one of the things that we did, so then, I mean, even to this day, we didn't have buses that took us to school. We didn't have parents that took us to school. Your grandparents woke you up, you got ready, and you went with your siblings to school, or your friends to school. And so we all did that. And I just recall a lot of us, I mean, a lot of people then were very poor, poor to a point where you didn't even have shoes to go to school. You basically walked barefoot. And I'm sure you're probably thinking, it was in Africa, it was warm, what was the complaint? But the thing is that in South Africa, if you saw one of my videos when I was in my mom's village, if you didn't see it, go look it up. When I was went to visit my mom for her birthday, it was very cold. So where my mom lives, it's very open. It's very common to have fog and frost, especially in the early morning, and then the sun comes out and then it's like all hot. Okay, so we were not really like used to cold, and we are not very tolerant people of cold. I don't like cold. And if I had known America was this cold, probably would have thought twice. But South Africa does get cold, so it's not an extreme adjustment for me, especially because in America we have AC and heaters and everything. I mean, they do have them now. In South Africa, I don't want to give the wrong impression, but then we didn't have anything. So we woke up with my friends one day. We walked into school, and the frost, like on our feet, we were like literal freezing. So we're standing there, getting ready to go to school. Actually, we already left for school, but in the middle of that, someone had to pee. We are like 7 years old people, so do not judge, okay? I just want to show you that a lot of what we're being sold really is not even needed, but we do it because that's what the modern society calls for. So someone peed, and obviously because it's so cold, steam starts steam starts rising from the pee. And so guess what do these little kids from Africa do? We start putting our feet in the warm pee. I don't know who peed, but we all put our feet, and it did defrost our feet, our little toes a little bit, and we stood there until the pee cooled down, and then we were like, hey, and this is the beauty of, like growing up without, like your parents constantly hovering over you. You do stupid stuff like that, and I would argue that's a benefit for a child. We always assume that, children need to be always, like parents hovering over them. Sometimes being out there and being on your own and figuring out the world helps you grow, and it helps you learn a lot more about yourself. So we did stupid stuff like that, and I was just thinking about that. I was about actually to go out and grab something to eat, and I was just thinking about that. I was like, make a video about that. But that was like one of the crazy things that we did growing up. Another one which got me in very big trouble. So we were kids, and we didn't have swings or anything. Everything that we did, we had to create. And because there was very little consumerism, meaning we didn't have products that you could buy. We didn't have plastic bags. We didn't have anything. The only thing that we bought was at the end of the month, and we'd buy maybe, like Millie Meal or something like that. So whether it was dolls or balls or whatever, we used old rags basically from our clothes. And so and every game that we played, it was a result of something that we created. So just imagine that, right? And I mean, it was like that here as well, and I understand, but it was generations ago, and a lot of you don't even know what I'm talking about. But in Africa, we were fortunate enough, and I'm using that word deliberately, we're fortunate enough to not have very little, that we had to be creative. But so this one time we were playing with my friends, so they put me in a white sack. If you remember those plastic sacks that they had in South Africa that were reusable bags that people used to get, like cornmeal or millies or whatever, or corn. So my friends decided to put me in there. Again, we're around like maybe, I said 7 years old, really I was like around 6 years old, because I left the village when I had just turned 6. I mean, I was almost 7 years old, yes. Like maybe around December. I don't want to give away my birthday, but anyway, so we were like, I was around 6 years old. So the funny thing is, these kids put me in this sack, and they, like start swinging me like this back and forth, swinging me back and forth, and I'm having fun because they put me in a sack, and then they threw me under this alu hedge. By the way, in South Africa, my daughter buys alu 1 ear for $4 at Harris Theatre. back home it grows everywhere, wild basically. And so so people used it as hedge, okay. And so so they threw me under there, and there happened to be rocks under there, and I hit my head. Gosh, I hit my head so many times growing up. I don't even know. I don't even know if I'm insane or not at this point. But I could be. Maybe that's why I'm making videos and laughing and like I'm talking to you all guys. But it could be that I hit my head too many times. But so they opened the bag and I'm just bleeding. And so like they had to go report, and kids got in trouble, and my grandma spanked them. And so they had to fix that mess. But life went on. So these are the little things that we did, that I'm not sure of. I think I'm running out of space on this, but these are some of the things that we did that like when I tell my children who grew up in America, they just cannot believe that we did such things. But yeah, we did. But anyway, another thing I wanted to tell you about, which I will probably one time, I'm going to tell you how the village homestead was self-sufficient. There were very few products that were bought outside of that. Everything was created, including organic food, grass-fed animals, and like manure was manufactured in the yard, and all of that. So I want to tell you about that because I think it speaks to the environmentalism of our people, that we don't need a lot of what we have today, but I mean, we do have